So I just unmuting myself again. A little more from Debbie in a few minutes' time. But for the next few minutes, we're going to hand over to Ian, our venerable race director, who's been race director now for well over 10 years, I believe, now, Ian. But he's going to update us on the fundraising for the bridge for John Kynaston and a few other housekeeping notes about the race. So over to you, Ian.
Thank you very much, Adrian. Venerable, that just sounds like old to me, but thanks for that description. Good evening, everybody, and thanks very much for coming along. I just wanted to give a bit of an update, a few things, as Adrian said, and maybe start with the bridge. For those who don't know what we're talking about for the bridge, and I don't think there'll be very many, we opened an appeal to raise funds for a bridge about 2 miles north of Benglass Farm, which had been washed away in storms. And we wanted that to be a memorial bridge for our friend John Kynaston, who passed away in January 2021. The reaction from everybody was absolutely fantastic. And thank you very much for the generosity that we saw. It was just wonderful. And the comments were lovely. I know the family are hugely touched by what they've seen and by the love that was shown for John. I think it will just be a super memorial. We have to pay a fee for the platform that we used, but the amount that we received in total came to £18,784.60 was what we ended up. We also had a race refund. A refund from the race was donated, and we sold merchandise. The merchandise came to £833. So we were just under 19,700 in total. The race is going to make that up to the £20,000. And we're just talking at the moment with the national park people who are in the process of arranging the whole thing for the bridge to be built. So we're certainly hoping it will be in place. It won't take too long to do. We're hoping it will be in place for the race. At one stage, I heard them say they hoped it would be in place for the fling, but I don't know if that's still the plan or not. So it may be wet feet or going upstream a bit for those who are doing the fling. But absolutely super effort. It's a lovely thing to have done. I think the generosity of this group, it's just been tremendous. Over the last, or since COVID started, we've done 3 different fundraising things. And as a group, we've raised over £50,000 for different causes, and I think that's just fantastic. Well done to everybody for what they've done. Adrian, can I maybe just talk a couple of things about the race as well that I was going to highlight? It's probably issues that I see are mentioned on forums and so on, and probably the one that's created the most interest or questioning this year has been the amended rules regarding support crews. And I just wanted to go through these in a bit more detail. First of all, people are required to have a support crew in doing the race. That's compulsory. And the support crew needs to turn up at Milngavie and needs to collect a permit there. So although we're trying to take the pressure off the support crew being in the first half, they do need to be at Milngavie. You can't just turn up as a runner and say, oh, my crew will turn up tomorrow sometime. They also need, really importantly, to be at the end of a phone if something happens to you and you have to pull out. So what we've decided this year is that you don't need to have a crew check-in at Balmaha, at Rower Denon, and no crew is allowed to check in at Benglass Farm. If you read the website carefully, we also say Bridge of Orkney, the crew doesn't need to be there. I would call that provisional at the moment. We need to run that by the medical team and check that they're happy, but that was our initial thinking of it. Effectively, what we're trying to do, firstly, is take some pressure off cars on the route, but also make it a bit easier for support crews who can come to Milngavie and then go and have a sleep until the next day. But as we say, if something happens, they do still need to be in the end of a phone to come and get you. So hopefully that'll be clear. As usual, I'll send out instructions towards the end of May, which will explain everything. If anybody's not clear about anything, please get in touch with me. But that's how we see that work. The other one I just wanted to say something on was the pacing rules, because we always get asked about that as well. Effectively, that there is the pacing rules work that if you're likely to run the race or you're running at a pace that's 21 hours or less, then you aren't expected to have somebody to run with you at all the whole way. And the way we do that is we look at certain times at the checkpoints. For example, Glencoe is after 14 hours and 45 minutes of the race. Anybody arriving and going out before then can't have somebody running with them. And that's just to ensure the integrity of the racing, that those at the front end are having a proper race. You still need to have a crew who can do the safety stuff if you get into any bother, but they're not allowed to run with you. Nobody's allowed to have crew with them up to the halfway point, Ochtertyre Farm. They can't do that. Because we think it's a race, you should be capable of running that way yourself. If you're slower than 21-hour pace, you can have people with you, and you can have as many as you want, subject to being sensible around traffic. So hopefully that will all make sense. It's on the website, describes it, and again, it'll be emailed to you in more detail. That's really all I wanted to raise, just apart from wishing everybody luck with their training. We will have dropouts. The field will fall to about 240 in race day. I've actually processed one tonight as we're talking. But that's just what happens. You'll have probably heard it before, but the probability of not getting to the start line is higher than if you get to the start line, getting to the finish. Most people who get to the start line make it to the finish, but there is generally quite a big fallout of people who just get injured and can't get the training, and friends get married and everything else that comes up with life. So I maybe hand back, Adrian, to you.
Yes, there was one question just came into the chat room about paces, Ian, which is from Deborah Bourne. Are paces required if you are a slower runner, which I think you'd answered, but if you just want to address that possibly again for Deborah, are paces required if you are a slower runner?
They're not essential, but what everybody needs to have in the second half of the race is 2 support crew who are capable of accompanying you if conditions dictate. It's not essential though. If we get a nice night, conditions fine, the medical people consider you're in an okay shape, then you can run on your own. So it does depend on a number of circumstances that we see at the time, but we don't insist everybody has to have somebody running with them.
Thanks, Ian. That's great. Obviously, as Ian says, we like to keep the integrity of the race at the sharp end, so there's a genuine race going on and everyone's got a level playing field. But the slower runners, sometimes having a good support crew and having support crew running with them on the later stages, especially in the dark, it can be the difference between them finishing and not finishing. So we appreciate that as well. That's an essential part of the whole West Highland Way family ethos, that it's a team thing, and your team will get you to that finish line, even if you're gone beyond your 3 chances to drop out, which you give yourself every time, I hope. Yes. Great. Okay. Thanks a lot, Ian. So we'll move on seamlessly. And our next speaker is from our wonderful sponsors for many years, Ron Hill. Those of you who have seen and heard speakers from Ron Hill over the years, going back to people like John Wilde, Andy Norman and Matt Bond, will have an inkling that it's almost like on your CV, if you want to work for Ron Hill, you've got to be a pretty speedy runner. Marathon times are usually ridiculous. And our representative from Ron Hill tonight, Andy Nixon, is no exception, although he's probably, I'll embarrass him by saying his best marathon is only 2:28. It's probably one of the slower members of the Ron Hill team, but his 5K and 10K times are also impressive. But what I just so like about Ron Hill as a company, having worked in the sports trade for so many years, and the way they've helped us with the races, is they are all just passionate about running. They share our passion for running. They get what the West Highland Way is. They get it's just a down-to-earth, honest, sort of no holds barred, bare your souls to the race, and they totally relate to that. And that comes through in the way they are as a company, how they deal with people, and just the way they supported the race with the lovely race merchandise you get every year in your goodie bag, and the other items of t-shirts and things that you buy in big quantities for all yourself and all your support crews. So I'm just going to hand over to Andy, and he's just going to say a bit about Ron Hill and highlight, we all like kit. He's going to highlight a couple of bits of really geeky kit that will be useful for anyone running on the trails. Okay, Andy.
Thank you, Adrian. Thanks for the introduction, and yeah, thank you for having me tonight. And yeah, we're incredibly proud at Ron Hill to be supporting this event. I know we had a chat this morning about how long that was, with it being over 10 years. So it's something that's incredibly, we're very happy to be part of. And yeah, you touched on it before, that we are a British brand. We started, we're still based just southeast of Manchester, where the business is still based. And we're coming into our 52nd year of existence, which is something we're very, very proud of. We were able to celebrate our 50th anniversary of existence back in 2020. Not as to the way we wanted to, for obvious reasons, but yeah, we're very happy that we're very proud of being, going for so long. And yeah, I just thought I'd touch on a few things and just kind of give you a bit of a background of the brand, but also I was very lucky to get to know Ron Hill over the years. A very brief history of my employment. I started as an 18-year-old at Hilly, which was a sock brand that he actually created after Ron Hill. And we are all runners, Adrian, as you mentioned. And the reason I was able to get a job there was because I was working at Sainsbury's on the checkouts on the weekends, and Dean Loxham, who Adrian will know, was getting fed up of me missing races at the weekend. So he gave me a job at Hilly, and I was able to do a few races at the weekend. So yeah, no, it's you're right. We are runners of the brand. We're very passionate about running, and it's something that we really try to kind of put over into the clothing that we create now. So yeah, the brand was started not long after Ron won the Boston Marathon in 1970, which became the first Briton to win that race, which is still a very quick time considering where we are now in the times. He ran 2:10:30, which is still not a time to be looked over at, but yeah, that's where the brand started. That's when the year the brand started, and as I said, we've been going for 52 years now. And I thought, with it being an inspiration even, I thought I'd just tell a quick story that some people may have heard previously, but for those that are new to Ron Hill, it might just help with those days when you're feeling a little bit tired, you're feeling like you can't be bothered to go out the door for that run. I just thought I'd tell a little story on that. So yeah, Ron had a streak, a Run Every Day streak, which we still support and kind of celebrate every year with a Run Every Day campaign in October. And he basically he ran for 52 years and 39 days every single day. And for those that would like that in days, that's 19,032 days. So every single day, Ron was out the door going for a run. And he told me a story once, which was he'd been involved in a car crash, which he'd broken a few ribs, and he was in the hospital bed, and he said to his wife, "Mate, will you go home and get my running kit for me?" And he said, "You can't go for a run, Ron, you've broken your ribs." And he said, no, I've got to go, I've got to keep the record going. And so May went home, got his running kit, and he tried to go out the front door, and the nurse and the doctors were saying, "No, Ron, you can't go, you're injured." So he decided to climb out the window and go for a quick 1 mile run, and then climb back through the window and into his bed. So if that doesn't give you a bit of inspiration in order to get out the door when you're feeling a bit tired, then I'm not sure what will. But, we really try to encapsulate what Ron is about, with a passion for running. So he had a degree in textile chemistry, and he created products like the split short that we see today. So he had a 5-inch short. He felt that it was a bit too restrictive, so he got a pair of scissors and cut up the side and created what was known as the Freedom Short. I'm sure some of those that know Ron from races, he also created the string vest, which was designed for keeping him as cool as possible. And we utilize a lot in our fabrics now in keeping the runner comfortable, cool, and obviously enabling to do whatever they're looking to do. So that's it's a real key point. I'm sure a lot of people are looking to get ideas on kit and what they should be wearing, and I've got a couple of items that we will go through in a second. Obviously, I could go through a lot, but obviously I'm conscious of time. So at the end, if there's any questions on certain products or certain things that you want to ask, then please, I'm here to the end, so please feel free to ask. But yeah, getting the right kit beforehand and knowing that you're confident that that's going to be absolutely perfect for the race day is a really key point. So just a couple of items. I'm just going to share my screen quickly. There we go. And one of the items here, I'm just gonna, there we go. So one of the items here is a new piece that we brought out last year, and the top is the Ultra Harsit T. So what we've got here is a top that enables you to carry a few items along the back. If you can see my cursor along the back here, we have a couple of pockets for gels or for any other nutrition that you may want to carry. You also have some pockets across the front of the chest and also on the sleeves as well. So it just enables you to have that real easy access to product, to nutrition, or any other little bit that you may need during your run. There's nothing worse than when you're really far into your run or your race and time is starting to kick in, where you're starting to struggle to get items out of pockets or out of bags, etc. So having a top like this will really just enable you to grab that product really nice and easily. I did a race of last year. I just entered it again, the Young Fry Marathon in September, and this top was perfect for me. Just enabled me to grab a few extra bits or store extra bits from the food stations that were on course, but also have that real easy access to that product. And again, just some of the shorts that we have. So we have the Ultra 5-inch short. As you can see down here, two really nice gel pockets there, and then you've also got pockets to either side as well to carry extra products as well. Obviously, if it's a warm day, then you've got a place to put your t-shirt or your vest without stuffing it down your shorts and kind of having that uncomfortable element. So that's just a real kind of flavour of products. These are applicable. These are also available in women's. It's just to give an idea of some of the things that we do. Some people may not even thought about having an item like this, so hopefully that might have just made you think a little bit about the certain pieces of kit. We also do waterproof jackets. I'm sure, British weather, there might be a little bit of rain, so we do have some really good waterproof jackets that, obviously, if anyone does have any questions at the end, then I can touch on those as well. So yeah, and one of the other things that Adrian was asking me, obviously, just to mention that one of the key things for us is using recycled fabric from a sustainability point of view. So for the spring summer 22 season, 40% of our range is made of 100% recycled materials. Now, obviously, we've still got a long way to go in getting to 100%, but it's something that is grown year on year, and it's something that's very, very obviously important to a lot of people, but also us as a brand and as a business. So we are really trying to use more sustainable methods of making our garments as well. So yeah, that's me. Hopefully a little story from Ron will give you a little bit of inspiration on those days where you can't be, you don't want to get out the door and get that vital run done. And obviously it's just to touch on a few products. But like I said, I'm here to the end of the session. So if there are any questions on clothing or socks as well, then I'm happy to answer those at the end. Hopefully that was all right, Adrian. I've touched on quite a few things there.
That was fabulous. Yes. Always great kit. Yeah, do go onto the Ron Hill website and see their whole range of kit. We're grateful for the help they've given us over the years. While we're on sponsors, I should mention again that we are also having Active Root supporting us again this year as an energy drink. I think most people are familiar with Active Root these days. They have agreed to support us, and they are providing us with a promotional code for all entrants and everyone who's on this call tonight. So what we will do is we will put access to that code on the West Highland Way Facebook site in the next 24 hours. So do log into the Facebook site, find the code, and you grab yourself some free sachets of Active Root to help with your training. Okay.